Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Over the last 1.5 years, I've been playing MapleStory on the heroic server Hyperburn. If you guys have been following my videos, you would know that I have made a lot of different characters in the server, ranging from my Battle Mage, which I solo progressed all the way to Black Mage on, all the way to the most recent character, my Corsair. Each of the characters I have made up until this point, I never really tried to push it much further than Hard V Healer. Hard V Healer is a stopping point that I went up to on a lot of these characters because I felt that that was where I had the most amount of enjoyment. I didn't really have that much of an interest in pushing into the later game, and my Battle Mage, which is my most progressed character, is currently working on getting its Eternal pieces. I am currently in a party doing normal Carlos and easy Carling, but I don't really have a particular interest in pushing a character much further. That is, until now. For those who have been watching my content for a while, you might know that there are some classes that I've made in Kronos, which is the other heroic server, which I didn't really do too much on, but I did enjoy playing. One of the classes in particular is Blaze Wizard. I had actually made a Blaze Wizard all the way back in the Ignition update when they did the Cygnus revamp, and I genuinely really enjoyed the class. During this time even, I was actually considering swapping mains from my Jet that was existing at the time, rest in peace, over onto my Blaze Wizard. I genuinely tried to make it my main. I star forced most of its gear up to 21, it has 4 arcanes, it even has Pitch Boss. I liberated it as well as soon as I could. But I couldn't make the full swap over to Blaze Wizard at the time because of a few reasons. I will point out that I don't usually take into consideration damage for any particular class. If you guys have seen the other videos, I do play some of the worst classes in the game between things like Mechanic and Wild Hunter and Battle Mage, so I'm no stranger to playing weaker classes. But there were some quality of life things that Blaze Wizard didn't have, which made it really difficult to play. The first issue that I need to talk about is the fact that Blaze Wizard has very limited mobility at the moment. It only has a flash jump and a pretty terrible teleport. The teleport is similar to the blink shot that the archers have, where you can set a point to teleport back to, which is okay, but again, very limited in the fact that other than this teleport, you only have a flash jump. Pretty much all other classes have at least one other form of mobility on top of their flash jump, and it really felt pretty bad to play Blaze Wizard in a lot of bosses. The fact that the flash jump too is actually pretty long and really far makes it really hard to make micro adjustments within fights, making it very difficult to min clear a lot of bosses. Another thing that I had a lot of issues with Blaze Wizard is the fact that its burst is very inconsistent. One of its main burst skills, Infernosphere, is a key down that consists of 10 charges. To be able to do your full burst, you have to hold the key down for the entirety of the 10 charges, and ideally you would do this within the bind. This makes the burst very annoying to do without a Genesis iframe. If you get hit by anything that causes you to miss or stuns you, you'll get knocked out of your burst. On top of that, you take full damage from any of the mechanics that happen. Just to show an example, in Cvel, if I'm trying to burst the boss and I get hit by any of the rocks, it will just stop my burst. Similarly, if a tail spawns underneath me while I'm doing my burst, I'll probably die. Most other classes that have key downs tend to either have some kind of damage resistance, and for other classes that have a key down on a charge-based system like Bishop, if you let go of the key down, you can quickly press it back down again, so you can stop your burst and then start it up again really quickly. Blaze Wizard, on the other hand, at the moment cannot do that. If you let go of Infernosphere, it has a 2.5 second cooldown before you can press it again. Just overall, bursting on Blaze Wizard is incredibly awkward and is extremely currently reliant on having a Genesis iframe. So this brings the question, why am I deciding to potentially main this character? What made me play this character again? And honestly, it's just 3 lines that fixed this class for me. The 3 lines that I'm talking about are in the patch notes for Korean MapleStory. These are the updates that we are most likely going to get within the next couple of months, and I'm extremely excited for it. The first one is that Blaze Wizard is finally getting an alternative form of mobility in the form of a dash. Pretty much every single class on this update will be getting some kind of a dash if it doesn't already have one. This gives the class a much needed alternative form of movement, allowing it to move slightly without having to flash jump. The next 2 lines have to do with Infernosphere. As I mentioned before, Infernosphere is a very dangerous burst to use, and it's very easy to interrupt by the bosses. In this upcoming update, while you're using Infernosphere, not only do you get debuff immunity, so that way the class will not get stunned and will not miss if it gets hit by any of the orbs in Gloom, for example, but it also takes less damage. These are the quality of life things that pretty much every other key down class has already, and it's finally being imported over onto Blaze Wizard. It took way too long for it to get these changes, and I'm so excited to be able to play this class. I originally wasn't going to play Blaze Wizard just now. I was going to wait for the upcoming Hyperburn that is going to happen in a month or so. But I want to just shout out Rich. He gave a very generous donation on stream for me to be able to pull 11 of the Wisp Wonderberries, which have a chance of getting a Vac Pet. And I was extremely lucky to get the Vac Pet on my 5th try or so. And with that, I decided to double down, make my Blaze Wizard, and push this character as far as I can go. I'm super excited to work on this Blaze Wizard, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video. W Rich. I just can't help but make random characters off event, right? I don't have any foresight. I already claimed the Hyperburn. Look, it's on my Pathfinder. So I'm gonna just straight out train my Blaze Wizard raw. Oh, no. Oh, no. Slight problem, guys. Am I really gonna train a Blaze Wizard from 0 to 200? Give us content?
Give us content, you rat. Rat emoji.
No way, this
rat
guy
emoji,
just gave me.
Rat emoji. Rat emoji. Chart with upwards trend 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 emoji.
I really cannot help but make characters off event, can I? It's just like everything lines up perfectly for me never to make an account or make any character on event. I just can't help it. It's impossible. Look at this wasted Hyperburn now. Whatever. Alright, what do you guys think? Woplop or Woblop? In memory of my Kronos Blaze Wizard. Alright, here we go. I gave up on this class in Kronos the same way I gave up on my Corsair. And now we are back on this character. All that they needed to give this class is a dash, and they gave it a dash in the most recent KMST. That's all I wanted, amongst a few other things. The few things that I wanted fixed on this class is actually being addressed, and I'm gonna make a Blaze Wizard again. How fun. I have a slight problem though. I am naked and I have nothing to work with, and it's a level 0. It is not hyperburned. I have paid for a Terraburn. Thank you, Rich, for the sponsor. And I have a lot of money to play with, but I don't know what to do with the money. So this is going to be kind of fun. I have some unhinged ideas now, but we'll worry about that when we get there. Oh my god, I get legendary circulator right now. That's crazy. How convenient. Oh, one of the few times where I actually didn't claim everything immediately on a random character. I actually got something out of it. That's crazy. Anyway, let's claim these strawberry tickets and make good use out of this. Okay, now you can see like it's actually quite a bit slower. So I'm gonna actually leave here and come back after I do my 5th job. There we go, 5th job unlocked. And we get some pretty awesome skills. This skill is amazing, Orbital Inferno. It's so big. Whoa, look at all these node slots we get. God, look at this. I remember paying for these node slots back in the day. That's crazy, they give so much. Let me just unlock a few of these things here. I'm gonna quickly get my arcane symbol, like the real arcane symbol. Alright, it's not the real one yet, but I can skip to it later. Alright, let's do some bosses first. Look at the damage. Alright, here we go, guys. Am I gonna get triple drop today? Oh my god, it was triple. It's a triple. Thank you, Anil. Try a Chaos Pink Bean. I don't think we have anything to lose. Wait, let me change something up. I can do this, right? Oh, look at the damage. Huge. 300k combat power. I'm ready. I don't know how much I need to do for 5%. Hopefully I'll be alright. I did something. Wait, I have no HP. Wait, do I have any potions? I have 5. Oh! It's all good. I can hit it now. No, never mind. I cannot hit it. Neither can a nil. Dude, I'm gonna die out. Oh. Uh-oh. Anil. I always died out of chaos. Pink Bean. I had elixirs. I did. Where? I had 10. It's all good. I got a cup. That's it. Oh, I see one there. I see two. Nice. Well, this is going to be my Messo drop gear for a while, so I don't mind tearing this up to Legendary as well. You don't need to... Wait. Oh, there we go. Okay, so everything has things with drop and stat. That's pretty good. The only issue is that I'm missing 3 lines of Messo Obtained, which is a slight problem here, because at best I can get a Meister Ring and the NLC Ring. Like these accessories are kind of just bad, that's why. You know what, I'll fix them later. Let's try roll some 2-line attack here. Oh, this is kind of sad. Alright, do we settle on 18%? That's kind of gross looking. Surely I'd roll for at least 21. Thoughts? Is this greedy? It feels greedy. I think a good time to stop here, because I was just going to go ahead and train anyway. Well, we got a lot of progress done on this character. I'm actually kind of excited. It has most of its dropping Messo Gear set up for the most part. I need to get a few more accessories, which might be a little bit annoying. But yeah, I'll have to figure that out in a bit. I'll definitely do the NLC Ring. I'll see if I can do Meisters. I don't know if I have enough resources to do it just yet. But I think it might be worthwhile trying to get this character Meisters. Yeah, I just don't know if I have the materials. Not too long after I ended stream, I quickly went ahead and did something that I would recommend anybody doing if they had the resources to do for a new character, and that is to open as many nodes as possible. I believe at this point I had about 1,500 nodes or so ready for a new character. I hadn't really used many nodes since working on my Corsair, and I was actively farming on that character for about 2 months or so. So I did manage to build up a nice amount of extra node stones for this Blaze Wizard. This process of me going through all the nodes and eventually opening everything that I had on this character took around about 10 minutes to do. So it did take a little bit of time, but it'll be worth it. Definitely getting extra amounts of damage through my boost nodes, getting a lot of damage on my 5th job skills really helps out, so then I'll be able to not only do my dailies with relative ease, but I will also be prepped up to do enough damage for some bosses later on. I do plan on trying to speedrun this character to catch it up as soon as possible, so I do want to try to get as much cheap damage as possible. After finishing up my nodes, I went ahead and did probably one of the best pieces of content that has been given to us. As part of the Legion Pass that was also very generously donated by Rich, we got 10 passes to the Golden Strawberry Farm. Basically, it's a flat field that we can just continuously attack mobs in, and it gives quite a lot of EXP, and I used all 10 of the tickets on this character, some of which I used to actually get to level 200 in the first place. It did actually take quite a while to get through all the tickets. You do have to kill about 1,000 mobs each ticket, and with 10 of them total, it did take maybe about 15 minutes to get through all of them. It definitely felt like a long time for me in the moment, but by the end of it, I was able to reach level 215. Unfortunately, this character is not Hyperburn, so I will be trying to get every single level manually. Definitely a bit of an oversight using the Hyperburn coupon on something else, but I'm going to try to make the most of what I've got here. The next thing that I did after hitting level 215 was just getting more accessories. One of the accessories I mentioned on the stream was the classic NLC Ring. You just have to do 3 quests or so, and you'll be able to buy the ring from the NPC here in NLC, and I plan on using this as my Messo Gear for the foreseeable future. The rings typically are hard to replace. We usually wait for event rings, but I don't know when the next time we're going to get event rings is going to be. All the event rings that they've given us so far, I've put on other characters, so this will be my drop Messo Gear for a little bit. Afterwards, I had to go through a lot of cutscenes. Even though I reached level 215, at this point I didn't actually finish the Arcane River pre-quest. So I spent some time here going through each of the individual areas. Of course, we have Reverse City, Choo Choo, and then Yum Yum. Didn't take too long to unlock them, and all of these are very nice. Both Reverse City and Yum Yum are great areas to unlock as early as possible, and thankfully I did end up at level 215 to unlock both of them. They do allow you to get double symbols from Vanishing Journey and from Choo Choo Island, so it's very important for us to get more symbols as soon as possible because they are going to be one of the main sources of damage for us. After this, I decided to spend a little bit of money for fun. I bought a bunch of Miracle Circulators to see if I could roll some nice IA lines. The Tundra event that is currently happening gave us a couple of legendary circulators, so my inner ability became legendary basically for free. And I bought a bunch of circulators just to see if I can get something useful. In terms of my damage IA, I honestly don't even know what I was rolling for at the time. I think I must have been going for something useful, but I don't think I saw anything. But more importantly, I was really hoping to see either 20% Messo obtained or 20% item drop. Both of these lines help us progress a little bit faster. The Messo obtained allows us to get a lot of money as we farm, and the item drop is very nice for us to increase our chances of seeing important items later on. In the spirit of just spending money for fun, I decided to buy some more cubes as well for my emblem. I didn't really like the fact that my emblem was 9 and 9 attack, so I decided to reroll it a few times with the intention of hitting 21% attack, but I managed to hit 21% attack with 30% IAD. This is probably as far as I'm going to push the emblem, and it's an amazing line for us to use early on. Speaking of items that we need to work on, one of the first things that I had to work on was my smithing. The smithing is really important for me because similar to Battle Mage, Blaze Wizard does use a shield. And to be able to get the shield that we use for any mage, we have to get our smithing as high as possible to increase our chances of successfully crafting the shield. And then I'll also have to get the materials to make the shield itself. So here I'm just sitting in Ardent Mill, working my way towards at least level 9 smithing. Took about 10 or so minutes to use all the resources that I had on me to get to level 9 smithing. And I went ahead and grabbed a shield recipe off one of my other characters, and I crafted a couple of shields. This shield is going to be our main secondary, and I just rolled it for the first 2 lines of attack that I saw, and I managed to land on 12 and 9 magic attack, which is probably what I'm going to stay on for quite a while. And of course, I decided to Star Force this up all the way to 17 star. Next up, we have a step of progression that I personally find to be kind of important for a lot of characters, but a lot of the time, people will probably try to avoid the content that I'm currently doing here, and that is Commercy. Commercy is another daily that you can do to get some more coins to get our Sweetwater Monocle and Tattoo. A lot of people really just don't like this daily, but for me personally, I don't really want to rely on the drop rates for both Twilight Marks and Black Bean Marks. I don't know how long it will take me to get this character to Hard Lucid and Hard Will, and in my personal experience with Chaos Pink Bean, that guy just does not drop any Black Bean Marks. So I decided to go for something more guaranteed. I decided to start off Commercy, and I know that in my experience, it takes about 5 minutes to do the pre-quest, and a little bit longer to do some of the solo voyages. And then once I have it all set up, I'll have Commercy PQ unlocked on the second day, and I'll be able to get 50 coins a day consistently. Meaning that within 5 days, I should have enough coins to buy a monocle, and given the fact that that's guaranteed, whether or not I do Chaos Pink Bean again, it's just a really good feeling. This content is not favored by a lot of people because not everyone loves to sit on a boat for a while, but given the fact that I force myself to do Monster Park, which I think personally is one of the worst chores in the game, I don't really mind AFKing on a boat a couple of minutes a day. So I'll be working on Commercy and slowly getting some spare face and eye accessories that I can use as either my damage gear or my drop gear, depending on what ends up dropping for me. And I guess just to round out the accessories, the next thing that I started to do was Gulls. Gulls is probably arguably one of the most important parts of progression for GMS, so getting this started and collecting coins as soon as possible is a high priority, and ideally I'll like to run with someone who is willing to give me the superior drops as well. Thankfully I have a lot of generous friends who are willing to take me on their mains that may already have 22 star superior gear, so then I have a small chance at speedrunning this character a little bit in terms of its gains. The superior set gives a massive amount of damage in its 4 set bonus, 30% boss damage and 30% IED, and the fact that it is relatively easy to 22 star compared to other items is a huge plus. I'll be making sure to do Gulls every day in hopes of getting the earrings and the belt. With most of the preparation done for a lot of my items, I went ahead and tried to do some bosses by myself. My character at this point is level 218. I did train a little bit and did some dailies to be able to jump from 215 to 218. And some of the bosses that I wanted to see if I could solo was just simply Chaos Root Abyss. At this point, I'm currently only using the fake items that I got from the Terrorburn coupon that I used to get to level 200 in the first place. So I would really like to try to replace them with real Chaos Root Abyss gear as soon as possible. After doing the pre-quest, I went ahead and tried the bosses. At this point, I was at about 1.1 mil combat power with all of my nodes. I also put on all of my links and my legion on, and I even popped guild skills for this character. I honestly thought that I might have had a little bit of trouble because 1 mil combat power usually leads to slightly longer runs. But I didn't realize with all the prep that I did and the guild skills as well, I was actually able to more or less one burst out of all of the bosses. The first 3 doors went down in about 1 minute or so each, and when I had to do C-Vel, it was a little bit trickier because I actually had to dodge a little bit and I wasn't actually able to fully one burst, but I was able to clear the boss within about 5 minutes. Definitely a lot faster than I expected for this character. Not that I'm complaining though, I'm really glad that I have real Chaos Root Abyss gear to work with. And also just because I knew my damage was actually quite solid, I went ahead and tried Chaos Papiladus as well. This was just more to see how long the run would take me. I knew I couldn't one burst out of the boss, but Chaos Papiladus nowadays isn't too difficult of a boss to really do, and I also had the Tanjiro skill ready to be used, so I figured I had nothing to lose. I managed to clear Chaos Pap within about 3 minutes as well, so overall I'm actually pretty happy with how the Blaze Wizard has turned out so far. It's clearing up the bosses really quickly, and I'm pretty happy with where it's at. One of the main reasons why I wanted to try to get the CRA gear as soon as possible was because the following day was actually the 30% off for Star Forcing. I realized during this day that I probably shouldn't have spent so much money on my accessories and cubing a bunch of items because I definitely probably preferred the stars that I would be able to get on this event. I only really wanted to work on my CRA gear, but with only about 15 build to go through, the chances of me hitting a lot of items here is quite low. On top of that too, I only cleared CRA once at this point, so I only had 1 spare of each of the hat, the top and the bottom. I can't really risk anything, so I decided to Star Force up a bunch of Pencilier items that I had farmed up while training. My goal here was just to simply Star Force the Pencilier gear to 21 stars, and then transfer it across over onto my CRA items. After a few booms, the Pencilier hat did eventually reach 21 star, so then my hat will be 20 stars after the transfer. Then for the rest of the event, I tried to go for a 21 star overall so I could transfer it over onto my top or bottom, but unfortunately on this event I didn't even manage to get it to 21. I'll probably have to come back to this item another time. I didn't really have that much going into this event, so I can't really expect too much from it. With the minor gains that I had on this event, I went ahead and tried to do 5% to Hard Lotus and Hard Damian. For both of these bosses, usually I would go ahead and try to run the normal versions for the cores. After clearing these bosses, I would be able to do a few runs of Scrapyard and Dark World Tree to be able to get some Absolute pieces. But Anil was very kind enough to take me on both of these bosses. 5% of Hard Lotus's HP is roughly about the full HP of normal Lotuses. We played it really safe and we just focused on doing damage in P1 of Hard Lotus. It is generally pretty safe, the mechanics are very easy to avoid, and I shouldn't really have any issues surviving in this fight. The total amount of damage I needed to do in phase 1 was a little bit under 2 trillion, and I managed to hit that damage threshold within about 7 minutes. From Hard Lotus, we didn't manage to get any boxes, but Anil managed to get a black heart, which is really nice. Moving on to Hard Damian, all I had to do was 5% of the boss's HP in the first phase. Thankfully, Damian is actually a pretty easy boss for Blaze Wizard. Even when Damian is up in the air, Blaze Wizard is one of the few classes that is actually able to attack him, even from the floor. Both my burst and my basic attacks are able to reach the boss, pretty much wherever he is, so hopefully the damage required to do 5% goes quickly. But unfortunately Damian, even though he's easy for my class to hit, actually is quite tanky, so this did end up taking a lot longer than I had hoped. I'm very glad that Anil was very patient with me for this particular run because it did take me a little over 10 minutes to be able to do the 5% damage required for Hard Damian. Luckily from Hard Damian, we managed to get 2 Abso boxes, a weapon, and an armor piece. This is about as good as it gets when you have a new character. Being able to basically start off with an Abso weapon and an Abso armor piece is very, very nice. Because I wanted to make the most out of the Abso gear and the fact that it was still the sunny Sunday, I didn't really have much money, so I decided to train a little bit and push the character to level 220. You can see I'm just making my way into Lachlan here. To be able to get to 220 I did have to train, and it gave me a little bit of money along the way thanks to the little bits of Messo drop gear that I had already made. Before I started Star Forcing some of the new gear again, I wanted to show you guys why exactly I really wanted to push for 220 on this particular day. Even though it is a 30% off Star Forcing event, it was also a 250% Monster Park clear bonus EXP weekend, meaning that every single Monster Park run gave 3 times the amount of EXP total on this particular Sunday. Even though I had just gotten to level 220, after I finished all 7 of my runs, I ended up at level 223. A pretty significant boost in EXP, and a much needed one at that. Now here I'm able to Star Force a few more of my items. I decided to get the Abso weapon to 16. I got my Abso shoes, which was the item I chose to get out of the box, to 16 as well. And then started working on another item that I just unlocked, which was my Meister's Ring. It only took me 2 days. I speed ran it. I used a lot of coffee that you can get from other people's houses to finish up my Meister's accessory crafting. And I had made a 16-star Meister ring as well. I had full intention of using this ring as my drop gear, but unfortunately, on tier up, it actually revealed as 3 lines of int. Not exactly what I was looking for, but it is still a fantastic line, so I decided to keep it, and I went ahead and made a new ring. A little bit of a suffering from success moment, but that's okay. Afterwards, I spent a little bit more money. I did get a Meister's ring to a Messo Gear as well. Unfortunately, I don't have that on camera, but it is 16 stars with a line of Messo at this point. I cubed up my weapon a little bit, and then I even Starforced a few extra items to get to 16, just to get a little bit more extra damage. On the conclusion of this particular event, I ended up at about 3.7 mil combat power in my damage gear and in my damage links and legion. A pretty significant jump in damage, going from about 1 mil at the beginning of the day, all the way to almost 4 mil by the end of the weekend. Okay, so I just spent a little bit of time doing those weeklies in Dark World Tree and in Scrapyard. Now I have 40 of each core. I can trade these in for some equips, which is nice. 2 coins here, and we'll need to make sure to get the mage cape. Wait, do I need a cape? Okay, I have shoes already, so mage cape. Shoulder. Where is it? There it is. Nice. I'm just gonna leave them as they are right now. I won't try to make any upgrades just yet, because I do kind of want to fodder into them at some point. Well, apparently the Tyrant's cape is ever so slightly better, but that's okay. That will be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video of me showcasing the start of my Blaze Wizard. I'll be uploading more things on my Blaze Wizard as soon as I can. There's a lot of things I want to show you guys. I've made a lot of progress on this character, and I hope you guys enjoy the journey that I will be going on with this new main. Hopefully it stays as a main. Until then, I'm just going to be mostly focusing on trying to level up and slowly working on my gear as we go. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It helps me out a lot. And if you guys want to see more from me, please consider subscribing to the channel. Take care guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.